In a related development, faith-based organizations in the country have drawn their line in the sand for an all-out war against groups and individuals opposed to the Human, Sexual and Ghanaian Family Values Bill 2021. 6 religious leaders led by the Pentecost, Methodist and Apostolic churches Wednesday laid bare the ground rules ahead of the consideration of the bill, with a warning to political parties to back or face rejection in the next election. The Coalition of Muslim Organizations, Ghana, also says it will leave nothing to chance to ensure the proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian family values bill is passed into law. Michael Papani Ashali's report read to you.
The Coalition of Muslim Organizations Ghana, COMOG, has presented a memorandum to the Legal and Constitutional Affairs Committee of Parliament in support of the anti-LGBTQ+ bill. The group, made up of more than 40 organizations, say the bill is the best for Ghana as it seeks to protect the interest of the majority. Prince Zachariah Moses speaks for the coalition.
In conclusion, it is our considered view, based on the foregoing arguments, that the LGBTQIAAP+ activities are lifestyle choices and personal practices which cannot be equated with or accorded the status of rights. This is especially so because scientific research indicates that no one is born hardwired with these practices or with these attitudes genetically ingrained. Quran chapter 6 verse 116, I quote, indicates that, and if you obey most of those upon the earth, they will mislead you from the way of Allah. They follow not except assumption, and they are not but falsifying. In this context, therefore, we fully endorse the proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian family values bill of 2021, which is currently before Parliament, and encourage the Parliament of Ghana and the President to swiftly pass the bill and assent to it respectively.
He took a swipe at individuals and groups opposing the passage of the bill.
Lawyer Akoto Ampao made a categorical statement that the gender, male, masculine, feminine gender is unscientific, and he made nonsense of that. I will, per this conference, want to ask respectfully, what is the sex of Lawyer Akoto Ampao? Is he a male or a female, or what? Professor Audrey Gajepo, who determines proper human sexual rights? I'm not going to talk God. I believe she doesn't believe in God. But there is a simple determinant. She should cast her eyes to the dogs, to the pigs, and other lesser animals, and see the way they have sex. That is a proper sexual affair. Period.
The president of the coalition, Haj Abdel Manan Abdel Rahman, said they will take notice of the members of parliament who will argue against the passage of the bill and will advise themselves accordingly.
I would like to acknowledge and appreciate the struggle and continuous resistance of our members of parliament, the 8 of them, particularly Honorable Sam George. And very soon we will catalog them and come again and address the general public about the people who do not seek their welfare and who we will go for them even right in their constituencies, so that we'll see whether they will come back to where they are. We are not threatening anybody. We are not threatening anybody. What we are saying is that we are all Ghanaians, and whoever is there is in the parliament is there for our interests.
Clerk to the committee, Equia Odrowa, received their memorandum. Michael Papani Ashali's report for Joy News.
Away from that, the Forestry Commission says it is benefiting from the government's crackdown on illegal mining in forest reserves. The Commission's Chief Executive, John Alute, says most forest reserves have been freed of miners who hitherto invaded and destroyed the reserves. He spoke to my colleague Ohimin Teria during the tour in the Western North region.
Government this year deployed 400 military officers to raid river banks and forest reserves of illegal miners, dubbed Operation Hot, which subsequently ran in phases. Armed security personnel destroyed over 25 excavators, water pumping machines, dredges, and other mining equipment. The Forestry Commission has been counting its gains following the exercise, which also targeted River Ofin, Pra, among others.
With the support of the military in the Operation Halt.
John Aluti is the Chief Executive Officer. Whilst commending President Akufo-Addo, Defense, Lands and Natural Resource Ministers, he said the presence of the military in reserves has greatly contributed to raiding and warding off reserves of illegal miners. Mr. Aluti is hopeful the government's efforts in providing alternative livelihood to mostly teeming youth miners will in the long term sustain the gains made so far.
We thank the President and the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources and the Minister of Defense, for the effort they have put in with the support of the military in the Operation Halt. That has been of tremendous assistance to the Commission in terms of providing the needed support and presence to be able to ward off some of these illegal miners. And by and large, most of our forest reserves are free of these miners. But what we continue to say is that this is not an event. It's supposed to be something that we continuously need to monitor and continuously need to make sure that we prevent people from, carrying out illegal mining in our forest reserve. But in doing so, we are also much aware, and the President is clear in his mind that we need to provide some alternate livelihood. And some of these things will be rolled out, and you witness the launch of some of these programs.
Mr. Aluti has been leading discussions with local collaborators on effective local participation in protection and management of forest reserves during a 2-day tour of the Western North region. Meanwhile, Mr. Aluti warns members of the public, especially communities along catchment of reserves, to take keen interest in the protection of forest reserves.
The Forest Commission has moved from the point where it is solely the responsibility of the Forestry Commission to protect the forest. We realize that those who are closer to the resource, when you engage them and they are part of the people who help to protect the forest, you are able to make more progress. You can't wake up in Accra and come and say you are just employing people to protect the forest. When the chiefs and people of that area are not involved, you will not succeed. If you do, it will be short term. In the long term, you realize that is not going to work. We need the support of the chiefs and people. So that's why we are here. And we need to engage the operators as well. They are investing money. And anything that they will do to protect the resources that have been allocated to them, we will support them. But then we should do this in an environment where we'll be able to also sensitize the people. And also to be able to create livelihoods. People who are living closer to these forests would like to, generate some benefit from these forests.
The Forestry Commission boss and its entourage have been meeting officials of the Western Regional Coordinating Council, Seyoyoso Traditional Council led by Okatechi Kwesibu Mangama, the Paramount Chief, timber contractors, among others. From Seyoyoso, for Joy News, Midday reporting.
In a related development, the Lands and Natural Resources Minister Samuel Abu-Jinapor says government will in the next few weeks establish the sheer landscape emission reduction scheme to restore the forest cover of northern Ghana. He spoke in Wa during a meeting with the Upper West Regional House of Chiefs.
Lands and Natural Resources Minister Samuel Abu-Jinapor, whistle-stop tour of the Upper West Region, first took him to the Upper West Regional Minister, Dr. Hafiz bin Sali, where he rolled out the objective of the tour.
So I'm here to, hopefully when we get to meet the Regional Security Council, to get into details of the issues relating to the lands and natural resources and how we can begin to tackle them from the very get-go, from the outset. I mean, that is the strategy of the President. The President's view is that we should not wait for this industry to get out of hand before we begin to mount operations upon operations. And at the very beginning, we should put in place measures and interventions which will get the sector properly regulated.
Dr. Binsali assured him of the continuous support of his outfit to enable him succeed. The Lands and Natural Resources Minister then rolled out of the Upper West Regional Coordinating Council and headed to the Warner's Palace to meet with the overlord of the Wala traditional area, now foreseen to see the Pilpo IV and his subjects. The Warner, through his spokesperson, Nakadri Ibrahim, tabled some concerns for the minister.
The various palaces within the traditional area are often inundated with cases of land disputes arising mostly from multiple sales and its attendant multiple claims over same parcels of land. These challenges would be reduced to the barest minimum, if not totally eliminated, if the Lands Commission and its various departments are made to only accept land title applications properly routed through the Wala Traditional Council for processing and documentations.
And they have this response from the minister.
There are very important, complicated land issues in the northern sector of our country. The question of vested lands, divesting of land, who owns what land, who has what interest in a particular land, are matters that I believe we need to tackle immediately. And I've taken the decision when I go to Accra to dispatch a technical team headed by the technical director of lands, Mr. Nsafwa, who himself has worked as regional lands officer in all the northern regions of our country. He's well vested and experienced in that area, to lead a technical team to visit all the 5 northern regions, to come to work closely with the various lands commissions, the regional coordinating council, and traditional authorities. First of all, to understand the issues on the ground, and second of all, to make recommendations to me as minister.
The minister then headed back to the Upper West Regional Coordinating Council, where he had a closed-door meeting with members of the Upper West Regional Security Council before addressing the media. The alleged sale of government lands to private people without recourse to its allodial owners and the illegal felon of Rosewoods came to the fore. He said Rosewoods confiscated and lined at Kojikweri in the Defema Bure Isa district and other communities in the region will be donated for the construction of the National Cathedral.
First of all, no rose would be exported again. Second of all, no rose would be auctioned for the purposes of export. So CITES permits are no longer being issued, and I have very verifiable reports that this instruction I've given is being adhered to. Thirdly, when rosewood is confiscated for now, they are to be donated for the construction of the National Cathedral. So a direct answer to your inquiry is that we're going to donate it to the National Cathedral for the National Cathedral to use it to construct the National Cathedral. It will then disincentivize those who are involved in the trade, so they can't go through the back door to acquire the wood anymore.
The minister also met members of the Upper West Regional House of Chiefs to solicit their support on the fight against illegal mining and felling of rosewood.
We are about to launch very soon a project called the Share Landscape Emission Reduction Scheme, which is going to result in an investment of some 54 million United States dollars to restore the forest cover of northern Ghana. Very soon the president will be coming to Tamale to launch it, I think this month or so. And by the grace of God, when that is done, the Forestry Commission is going to work hand in gloves and closely with the various regional houses of chiefs and seek for your support and cooperation so that we can roll out this program and hopefully be able to restore the forest cover of our country.
The Demangu legislature rounded a tour, meeting agencies and departmental heads under his ministry and members of the Association of Small-Scale Miners in the Upper West region. Reporting for Joy News, Rafik Salam.
Let's do some party politics now. Aspiring national chairman of the governing NPP, Professor Christopher Ameyawe Komfi, has backed calls for government appointees to make monthly contributions to finance the party at various levels. According to him, resources accrued will be used to strengthen the party machinery at the grassroots level and also cushion the supporters towards the attainment of breaking the 8. He was speaking at the Ahafo Regional Delegates Conference of the party. There's more in the following report.
The NPP has so far held its delegate conference in 7 regions, including the 5 regions in the north, Bono East and Arthur region. Today, the party is expected to meet delegates in the Bono region. Some presidential aspirants and those gunning for various leadership positions have been captured, leveraging on this conference to court the support of the delegates. Notable amongst them are Stephen Team and Professor Ameyo Konfi, who are both gunning for the chairmanship position. General Secretary John Boydu is seeking re-election. National Youth Organizer Henry Nanabuache will now be contesting for the national organizer position of the party. Former Energy Minister Boache Jako, who is present at this conference, has declared his intention to run for the flag bearership race. The Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bamia, is being represented by his senior advisor, Fredo Wari. Former Medina MP Boniface Abubakar Sadiq is at the conference on behalf of Trade and Industry Minister Alan Chamantin. One of the key concerns established at this delegate conference is the neglect of party supporters at the grassroots. In the Upper West region, the regional chairman, Sambaye Kambere, accused MMDCs in the area of abandoning the party, which led to its abysmal performance in the 2020 general elections.
You seem to have forgotten that it is the victory of the party which created the vacancies for you to occupy today. I don't remember any of you who ever stretched a helping hand by way of finance or logistics when the party is in dire straits. You seem not to care, and you indeed want to bite the hand that fed you.
General Secretary of the party, John Boydu, agrees. Meeting delegates in the Upper East region, he observed that government appointees will soon be compelled to make monetary contribution periodically to finance party activities at the various levels.
We know most of the government appointees have been helping the constituencies, they've been doing their bits. But there's no system, and there's no party anywhere in the world where government appointees don't regularly and periodically remit their constituency party, their regional party, and their national party. And I think that it is important that we take that decision here, that MMDCs, government appointees, ministers of state, board members, and all that, at least some token, and I think that regional chairman will have that conversation and get that conversation ratified at the National Annual Delegates Conference for us to be able to monitor these resources that come to the party.
Professor Ameyo Konfi, gunning for the chairmanship position, has backed the call. In his view, government appointees should part away at least 2% of their income to support the party.
Parties have to exist at the lowest level, and they make a small portion of your income to support the party. I think that's a good call.
Isn't that going to breed corruption? Because already the government has been accused of engaging in all forms of corruption. So when you do that, you put pressure on the CEOs, government appointees to quote and unquote, dip their hands into where they are not supposed to finance party projects.
It depends on the level. If it's 2% of your income, I don't think that's going to get you to go into corrupt practice. Just 2% of maybe what we normally use for entertainment, going out with friends. Save some of that aside.
The chairman of the Northeast Region Security Council, Yidana Zachary, has warned that nobody will be allowed to disturb the peace of the region. The minister indicated strongly that those who might be planning to foment trouble anywhere in the region should desist or they will be arrested. Mr. Yidana Zachary was speaking in Chireponi after the confirmation of the district chief executive nominee, Hajia Zuriratu Nashiru.
Expecting the assembly members to vote against and reject the nominee. However, on Thursday, The Assembly members confirmed her nomination by nearly over 80% after she polled 23 against 8 no votes. Before voting started, tension mounted above the Assembly complex and the voting grounds after some aggrieved supporters had massed at the venues, demanding transparency in the exercise, while others were threatening the Assembly members of consequences if they confirmed the president's nominee. Ibrahim Awufo was one of those who were arrested following the protests against Ajia Zuere's appointment. He has come here to continue his protest against the nominee.
The woman there, I don't want the woman. You know, be apart from me, the whole Japanese don't want the woman. The woman be NDC. Me, I don't have any problem. Now I look at assemblymen. The way I think, it will do.
How do you think?
I think say the assemblyman go throw the woman away. So if you don't throw her away, the MPP party spoil in Chiripone. No MPP in Chiripone. My brother is suffer and this MPP. So you know because the woman and SK who is majority here. SK will have majority pass the woman.
Some of them were also asking for transparency in the exercise. Others had concern about the number of security personnel present.
But what I'm seeing different is the security is armed and everybody coming here. We used to do it normal. We don't see anything. But if they have the fear that something will happen, we don't assume that.
The exercise was conducted inside the building of the Presbyterian Church of Ghana in the town. Although the venue was cordoned off by armed police and military personnel, the rival supporters showed up in their numbers. Fuseni Bawa, who had traveled from Wenchiki to monitor the exercise, said there will be more protest if the DCE was confirmed. The last time we confirmed our DCE, no regional minister showed up. So what is this regional minister doing here? And I want you to know that there will be more protest if she's confirmed against our demand, because we won't allow a stranger to occupy that position. However, after counting, 23 of the 31 assembly members voted to affirm her nomination, while only a measly 8 voted against her. Several personnel, including the regional representative of the Council of State and the Chief Bonifemi, gave their admonitions to the assembly members before the voting started.
I traveled on the Yende Chilaponi Road yesterday night. When I got to Wapole, it took me 2 hours with my Lapusa. Without the DCE here, that road cannot be through.
The angry supporters after the confirmation declined to speak to the press and quickly dispersed from the scene, while supporters of the new DCE were full of excitement and glory. In his closing remarks after swearing into office the newly confirmed DCE, the regional minister, Yidana Zakari, issued a strong warning to those who could be thinking of taking the law into their hands.
I want to sound a note of warning that nobody will be allowed in this region to take the law into his or her own hands. I'm repeating, if you dare beat the peace of the area and you are caught, the rigors of the laws will apply.
And you heard the correspondent Elias Otanko's report. On that note, we'll take a breather. We will be back with business. Stay with us.
Vest all natural resources in the president in trust for the people of Ghana. By this, the president takes all decisions regarding exploration despite traditional authority wielding ownership of lands. Otumfuo Osei-Tutu, however, disagrees. The Asantehene was addressing a delegation from the Ghana Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation, who introduced Rockshore International as strategic partner for the Nyinahini bauxite mine. The mine has been divided into 3 concessions, with the current partner being granted one of them. To fully benefit the country, the Asantehene wants qualified companies to be selected for the other 2 concessions.
The Akanon so a buyer no so, a bomper so many papa won't name dear, Nanso Omni Omayan share near the Amay. Name said, and Nana Bako, NDC time, Edico Quartibra, a company and crowd is a zone BBB. Woman, you know, say the Abaya can be aka. Woman so quiet tender, and be next woman, young farmer woman, no so yet man in ye. Said the rock shop for you, no, so, Nidian and now will be a woman, dear, be between a one day. Uncle, you be now buying for the Akan be more, no man, you know, so your man in ye, my. Your bumper said, he wouldn't, you know, you been your nipper me, you know, Quayama, at them one and Puntiaba.
As part of the project, a bauxite refinery will be built. An estimation of the quality of resources in the concession will be done for approval. Michael Ansa is the CEO of Gayadec.
To start with, there are a number of things that you do in any mining project. First is to carry out mineral resource estimates. So we'll estimate the quality and the quantity of bauxite that we have in the area that's been assigned to Rockshore International. That's the joint venture between Rockshore and Gayadec. And once we have done that, then the next thing is for us to put together the arrangements for the joint venture company that will seek the mining lease for us to put together the whole program. So not just mining, but mining and refinery to be able to go to Parliament or to any other authority that will require permission from to be able to execute the work.
In other news, international housing firm Gateway Real Estate Africa is urging government to find a way of creating partnership with pension fund holders and stock market investors to channel some funds to the housing sector. This, it says, will help in bridging the housing gap. According to the chief executive, Greg Pearson, this idea has worked in many countries and likely to work if all stakeholders come on board to contribute. He has been sharing his thoughts on how the sector can be revived post-COVID-19.
The partnerships that we talk about is partnering with your pension funds in the countries we operate. So if you look at that, we are real estate specialists. We've got diaspora from, global diaspora, and we brought them back to the countries that we operate in. And Ghana is a very good example where you've got real estate specialists that are well educated globally that we've managed to attract back to Ghana. Now, we consider ourselves as real estate specialists. We're trying to work with the pension funds of the country that we can manage their real estate and provide them with a better return. So in this instance, we need support. We need to have that collaboration, and we can provide a better return and manage property portfolios, in our opinion, better than the insurance companies and the pension funds. And we've done some great collaboration in the likes of Botswana, in the likes of Mauritius, and the likes of Mozambique, where the pension funds have come together and we've collaborated to make a much bigger real estate platform. In that instance, what I would say is, if you're not in real estate and you're not a specialist in real estate, it's best to rent, because the focus of the people that specialize in that will always provide you with a great service. On a homeowner's situation, it's always it depends on your financial situation and that freedom that you want to have, whether to rent or to buy. So it's always a very difficult and personal question, because there's a lot of an emotion involved in housing, where corporate accommodation or commercial accommodation, it's a business decision. So yeah, a very difficult one to say whether it's right or wrong.
We have more business news coming up at the top of the hour on the marketplace. Stay tuned.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the sports segment with me, Rick Wampofo. Ahead of the Black Stars FIFA World Cup qualifier against Zimbabwe, Lawrence Magenja, a sports journalist with Soccer 24 in Zimbabwe, is optimistic under the guidance of their new head coach Norman Mapeta. The Warriors can secure a valuable point against the Black Stars. He spoke earlier on the AM Sport.
Well, like you rightly pointed out, bro, the team didn't get off to a good start in the World Cup qualifiers. This is a football-loving nation. Qualification for the FIFA World Cup has eluded Zimbabwe since independence in 1980. So this was regarded as a very big opportunity for the team to qualify. The general consensus was that this is a group which is reasonable. in which everybody had a chance to qualify. But we didn't get off to a good start. We had to part ways with the coach. It was his sacking was overdue. We've got 1 point heading into the double header against Ghana. Well, the general consensus as well is that with all due respect to Ghana as a footballing powerhouse, we actually still believe that the team still has a chance to make it, and all it's gonna take is for us to have at least a positive result in one of or both of the games against Ghana. So, we, as a nation, we are looking forward to the game. We respect Ghana as an opposition, the football powerhouse, but equally so, we actually still believe that we can go toe to toe with them. Despite that, he's a respectable coach here. This side, he has been there. He is not new to the national team setup. He's dealing with players, most of whom he knows personally. So he's a very, very respected coach. He's a good coach, actually. He's a coach whom we feel can actually grind the result against Ghana, despite Ghana having the pedigree of an African power. So we are looking forward to the game. The coach himself is someone we trust a lot, and we expect him to grind the result, despite the fact that Ghana is an African power.
Still on the Black Stars, Captain Andre Ayew was not part of the team that played in the friendly against soccer intellectuals and sports journalists with the Enshrine FM in Kumasi. Bismarck Owusu Bempa says even though the outside winger may have a lot to offer the team, Milovan Rajevac should give opportunities to those who can deliver for the nation.
Andre Ayew got his debut for the Black Stars on a Glory Roy. But I think, for me, he cemented his place in the Black Stars during Milovan Rajevac's time when he had to promote a lot of the under-20s from the 2009 winning team in Egypt. So he's someone who Milo knows very, very well. If you look at the highlight that you showed in our game against Germany, in a game against USA, you could see Andre Ayew was an integral part of Milo's plan then. Now, we are talking about 13, 12 years down the lane. If a coach comes back and finds the same player playing for the Black Stars, he will ask himself if he has lived his moment with the Black Stars and he's still active, he's still efficient in the team after 12, 13 years. So I think Milo will be the best judge of the situation with Andre Ayew. He has been part of his team before, and he will assess him 12 years on to find out if he can still give him what he was giving him in the past. I'm not so bothered about who starts the game. What I'm bothered is Milovan having a clear view of the strength of his players, how efficient he wants to play, and those who can get the job done, and not names and individuals who are supposed to be captains, big names, pedigree, and all that. Milo is someone we are depending on to get the best out of our players. And if we have to take our captain sitting on the bench to get the results, Ghanaians are for it to.
Still on Ghana and focusing on the Ghana Premier League, and this time Giants Kumasi Asante Kotoko have touched down in Dubai for their 2 weeks pre-season tour. The Porcupine Warriors will be in the Arabian country until October 22nd. Kotoko left with a 25-man squad including 2 goalkeepers, 9 defenders, 7 midfielders and 7 forwards. It will be 10 days of intense training ahead of the new season. For Kumasi Asante Kotoko, but that's how we wrap up the sport here. My name is Oriku Wampo.
And on that note, we end the news. There's more news on myjoyonline.com. Thanks for your company this evening, or this afternoon, I beg your pardon. My name is Mama Viewers Fabwaji. Enjoy the rest of the day.